Hello, I'm Scott Thompson, and welcome to After 10. Korea, one of the world's leading IT powerhouses, is preparing to host what's being billed as the Olympics of Information and Communications Technology. The ITU Plenipotentiary Conference 2014, a gathering of core policymakers in the ICT field, will be held in Busan, Korea next year. On today's After 10, we are joined by the nominee for chairman for next year's conference, Min Won-gi. 193 countries around the world are part of the International Telecommunication Union, one of the United Nations specialized agencies for information and communication technology. The ITU Plenipotentiary Conference, the top policy-making body of the ITU, is held every 4 years. The ITU Plenipotentiary Conference 2014 is going to be held in Busan, Korea. Korea is expected to play a leading role in the ICT field moving forward as host country of the ITU Plenipotentiary Conference 2014. Meet Min Won-gi, chairman nominee of the ITU Plenipotentiary Conference 2014. Mr. Min, thank you very much for being on the show.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for the invitation.
Now, the International Telecommunication Union Plenipotentiary Conference 2014 will be held in Busan, Korea next year. Introduce us to the conference, if you will.
Let me first introduce what ITU is. ITU is one of UN specialized agencies in ICT. It was founded in 1865, so it's the oldest international organization in the world. And it carries out three main missions. The first one is allocating spectrum bandwidth, which actually enables us to make our phone call using our handset, even though we travel around the world. And the second one is actually developing technical standard. So when we send our signal to foreign countries, our signal, telecommunication signal and communication signal can reach to those countries. And finally, but not least important mission of this organization is to support developing countries to increase the capacity of ICT. Those are the main missions of the ITU. And ITU Plenipotentiary Conference is the highest decision-making body of ITU. This Plenipotentiary Conference is held every 4 years, like Olympic Games. And in this Plenipotentiary Conference, ITU member countries make decisions on which direction this ITU will move forward for next 4 years. And it also makes decisions on financial strategy and future strategy, management strategy of this organization. In addition to that, in this Plenipotentiary Conference, they elect the kind of the election force, including Secretary General, Deputy Secretary General, and directors on radio communication, standardization, and development. So this is the most important conference in the ITU.
Quite a large number. You are the nominee for chairman for this conference. What is your role as it pertains to the planning process that's going to be coming up?
Like other chairmen in the conference, chairman is supposed to preside the whole conference. The main issue in this conference is this conference lasts for 3 weeks. And I believe that I will have more than 20 plenary sessions, and I need to lead all those plenary sessions. And in those plenary sessions, important things I mentioned before, the election of the senior government office, senior IT officials, and the future strategic plans and financial plans should be decided by that plenary meeting. So I expect a lot of discussions among member countries, and my role is trying to find out the kind of compromising point among those 193 delegations.
Now, this conference is held every 4 years. This is the second time an Asian nation is hosting the Plenipotentiary Conference, the first being Kyoto, Japan in 1994. Why was Korea selected to host this, or rather next year's conference?
Actually, when you look at this event, this is very interesting because Olympic was first held in Japan in the Asia Pacific region, and Korea hosted Olympic game in 1988. Likewise, here in this ITU Plenipotentiary Conference, Japan hosted it 20 years ago, 1994, and we will host this event 2014. I think the reason is quite simple, because Korea is one of the leading countries in the field of ICT, and Korea has made contributions to the ITU community for a long time. Korea is currently working as a kind of six-time council member, and it was first elected as one of council members in 1988. Since then, it has never lost its position as council member of ITU. At the same time, many Korean experts are working as chair or vice chairs of the working groups. So the Korean people are making a lot of contributions to the ITU. And at the same time, when you look at these companies like Samsung and LG, actually they are doing quite well in the world. And the global people are actually using Korean ICT gadgets every day. So I think this is the right time for us to host this event. That's the reason we actually submitted our proposal to host this event in 2010. And actually that was approved by the all member countries unanimously. So that will lead us to have this event in Busan in 2014.
And Busan, any particular reason why Busan was selected to host the conference?
Actually, at the time we hosted this, when decision was made, Korea hosted this event, there was a competition between Seoul, Jeju Island, and Busan City. And Busan City was selected based on the kind of evaluation, what kind of environment they have. Environment means that ICT infrastructure they have and what kind of experience that they have to host this kind of international events. In fact, Busan actually has an experience to host 2004 ITU Asia Telecom event, and at the same time, they also hosted 2005 APEC Summit meeting. So it has a lot of experiences to host these kind of international events, and they have good facility. Mexico has a very nice facility to host international events. At the same time, the people in Busan, the citizens in Busan, are pretty much excited in hosting this event. That kind of support from the citizens of the Busan city actually influenced a lot to host this event in Busan. Yeah.
Let's get to the heart of the conference and the topics that are going to be discussed at the conference. You mentioned the plenary sessions, quite a number of them taking place. What do you expect to be the main topics of discussion between the people who are coming here next year?
Along with the general topics such as the budget, the financial planning, and operational strategy, there are policy issues such as the internet governance and ICT and climate and protection of children in the online stuff. Those kind of issues will be discussed in the Plenipotentiary Conference, and all those issues are quite important. We are nowadays talking about how to ensure the privacy on the online, and those kind of issues will be dealt in the Plenipotentiary Conference.
And in terms of past conferences, can you point to specific results that have come out of them, and perhaps what you expect to come out of this particular conference?
When you look at this ITU Plenipotentiary meeting, ITU Plenipotentiary does not make any specific decision, but it just set out the kind of the directions for the future ICT community. And we do believe that this upcoming Busan Plenipotentiary Conference will provide a kind of new vision, how to build a kind of more equal global community in terms of ICT, use of ICT and adoption of ICT, because digital divide is still a big issue in the global community. At the same time, as I already mentioned, the protection of privacy online is such an important issue. People are actually afraid of using internet because there is a possibility their personal information can be leaked out. So we do not believe that this Plenipotentiary Conference will come out with any kind of conclusive measures to prevent those kind of things, but it will lay down some kind of principles how these kind of things should be dealt and what kind of measures should be provided in order to protect the people on the online, at the same time provide more equal detailed opportunities to the global community.
And Korea being the host country, as I understand, is going to be taking the lead in some of the areas at the conference. What might some of those areas be?
Actually, Korea is interested in many technology-oriented topics because Korea is one of the leading ICT technology countries. One is using ICT for the convergence of ICT technology and other traditional industries. We are talking about the convergence and fusion, those kind of things. And we believe that ICT can be a core technology which enables to enhance the competitiveness of other traditional industries such as automobile, shipbuilding, and even textile industry. If you use ICT technology appropriately, you can increase the effectiveness and efficiency of those kind of industries. So we will submit one proposal on that topic. And second proposal is Internet of Things. This is a kind of machine-to-machine communication stuff. Previously, we used the telecommunication phone line to make a phone call to other people. And nowadays, we just use this internet network to control some things. But in the future, these things and things will communicate with each other. And in order to make that kind of thing possible, you have to adopt this IP version 6 kind of protocol. This is a little bit technical, right. But we will make that kind of proposal to the ITU Plenipotentiary Conference.
Now, when you listen to what the ITU Plenipotentiary Conference is and what it aims to do, there are clearly direct links to it and what President Park Geun-hye is trying to do in establishing a creative economy. Explain for us what those links are.
Creative economy aims to use this creativity and imagination to enhance and to create a new value, economic value, and create new quality jobs in the whole economy. And we do believe that ICT can be a kind of major enabler to turn this kind of imagination and creativity into real jobs and economic growth. And this ITU Plenipotentiary will show how this ICT technology can contribute to create quality jobs and can make real contribution to the economic growth. Because we are not only host this ITU Plenipotentiary Conference, but also we will host global conference and the ICT exhibition. So people can come to the venue and see how this ICT technology can really help them to create the new jobs and to make new economic value in the traditional industry and create a new kind of job opportunities in the new ICT sector.
You mentioned at the conference, this isn't just for specialists and for government officials, it is for the general public to come and take in some of what the conference has to offer. Tell us a little bit about the events and activities that are being planned for the general public.
This ITU Plenipotentiary Conference is a kind of closed meeting for member delegations. So if you are not the member delegations, you are not allowed to get in. However, in addition to this ITU Plenipotentiary Conference, we plan to organize ICT Expo, which is exhibition. So the general public can come and see what kind of future technology can make real change in the world. At the same time, we are planning to host this global conference. So we would like to invite the movers and shakers in the ICT sector to deliver the message to the general public so the public can get the idea what would be the kind of future theme in the ICT sector. At the same time, we also want to use this opportunity to show our Korean Hallyu to the general public and to the foreigners. So we will have special event for Hallyu and Korean cultural events. So people can not only learn from this event, but also can enjoy themselves by participating in those events.
It gives the people a chance to come and see some of the changes that have perhaps occurred in technology in the past few years. I think it's an understatement to say that there have been major changes in technology in just 4 years since the last conference. How has the conference itself changed in that time frame?
When our delegations, the delegations from around the world come to this event, they will experience this augmented reality. That's a kind of enhanced version of virtual reality. So they can feel and smell something through these ICT gadgets. So those kind of things would be possible through the participation of this event. And I already mentioned that our proposal about M2M, machine-to-machine communication. So the participants really can see how machine and machine can communicate with each other and machine control other machines. So those kind of new technology will be exposed in the ITU Plenipotentiary Conference. At the same time, because Korea is the #1 country in terms of the deployment of LTE technology, that is so-called 4G. So all participants can enjoy how fast it is. And our 4G speed is growing every day. Because of the very strong competition in the local market, we are now enjoying the fastest LTE service in the world. So all participants could get the idea how technology go in terms of the speed and quality of mobile services.
As we've mentioned, this is a very large-scale event. You've got about a year or so now until the start of it in late October of 2014. How are preparations going so far?
Actually, preparation is going very well. We already formed 3 advisory groups. The one is within the government, so all related ministries are participated in this committee, actually. And our minister is the chair of this committee. And we also formed this higher-level advisory group, and this advisory group is composed of the congressmen. So many congressmen are participating in this higher-level advisory committee. And we also have this middle-level advisory committee, which is composed of experts in the ITU events. And in the meantime, we also have this ITU supporters, which is composed of these college students. Like there are supporters for Manchester United and those kind of football clubs. Now we do have our own supporters. And in terms of the preparation of the event, we are working closely together with the Busan city government to prepare the venue and to ensure that enough accommodation for receiving this large number of visitors and participants from around the world. And from our side, the Korean government actually nominated me as the chairman nominee of the ITU Plenipotentiary last May. And from October, I'm fully working on this new role. So I have been participating in all important ITU meetings around the world, and I've discussed with all important stakeholders on ICT issues.
And this is a 3-week conference that will be taking place. What are your expectations by the time the conference is over? What are your expectations for results, for goals? What do you expect to see?
There are 2 things. The first thing is, this is a kind of the celebration for recognizing Korea once again as the #1 country in terms of ICT. Recently, Korea was ranked #1 again by ITU in ICT Development Index. It was actually 4th year in a row. So Korea has been that position for a long time. But I don't think we do have kind of appropriate celebration party. So this is time to invite all global community to Korea and to show them how ICT has changed the Korean community and Korean economy. And for ourselves, I think this is a really good time for us to celebrate, because we have made these phenomenal changes together. Not just the developers, not just the academia, not just the government, the whole general public who embraces this kind of new technology actually has made this change. So I think this should be a kind of celebration of the whole nation. And secondly, I do believe that this can be a good chance for the global community to realize once again how ICT can support the economic and social sustainable development of the global community. ICT is not a tool which just supports economic development. When you look at the development of mobile broadband in African region, now using this M-money, even though most of African people do not have the bank branches in their community, they can actually send money and receive money. So this ICT technology really changed the daily lives of the people, especially in developing countries. I hope that this event will reinforce the idea that ICT is an enabler to make something happen, something good actually, for the whole global community.
We will certainly be looking forward to the ITU Plenipotentiary Conference in Busan next year. Mr. Min Won-gi, thank you very much for taking time out of your schedule to talk with us and to tell us a little bit more about it. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching. We'll see you next time, After 10.